We have been saving our best stands for the best days. It is now time to hunt them. Mike Reed continues his quest for merino on the river farm, while Josh Sparks greets the breaking day on a public land bedding ridge. Despite realizing the big deer has likely moved to a different area, Jared Mills continues to hunt the same spots where he nearly killed the buck back in October. 20 miles to the west of where Jared is hunting, Kaleb Greiner and Collins Marine watch the same fiery sunrise. They're back in the stand that Kaleb has hunted the past 3 days. The movement starts immediately.
See this back little dip, little corner where it goes in? There's a nice buck in there. Can you see him at all? He's walking towards the point. Yeah, it's the 10.
Oh, I see him now. That is that 10, isn't it?
Looks like it.
He's with that doe still chasing her around.
Well, good morning, guys. It's November 3rd, sweet November, and Collins and I just got situated in the stand. But we've already had a little bit of action this morning. We're in here after 3 deer, one being the old 10, which is a deer that Collins is hunting. We actually encountered that deer the last 2 days. I encountered him, he was right under the stand. Collins wasn't with me, unfortunately, and then last night he was out in the CRP to my left on a hot doe, and we filmed him actually this morning again out here in the CRP on the same doe probably. So hopefully he gets off that doe, or he breeds that doe and comes our way. But the other 2 deer that we're in here after is Turkey Foot. It's a really solid 5-year-old that Collins and I filmed here probably 2 weeks ago. The other deer is a deer that I'm not too familiar with. I got video of him here 2 days ago, and just a solid 6x5, really nice typical deer. And as of right now, I still have 9 days of vacation in November, late November, so I'm going to be kind of picky here in the next couple weeks. And we've already seen maybe 10 or 15 deer so far, so hopefully the numbers increase and we keep seeing deer. That's a different deer. That's both that deer I was telling you about.
He's chasing her.
There's another doe. There's 3 over there.
It's like 5 or 6 does.
There's 5 there. There's 7 total. There's 2 crossing the fence right now.
With the old 10 locked down, Kaleb and Collins are at the mercy of the doe. The buck will go wherever she leads. The rut can be a tough time to hunt one specific buck because his movements are very unpredictable. All you can do is stay in the right area and hope a doe brings him past, or he breaks away from one doe and begins to search for another. Jared Mills leaves his morning stand without seeing the big deer. The lack of action further instills a growing sense within the bow hunter that the buck is now gone. Mike Reed's morning offers a moment of excitement when a deer that very closely resembles merino comes through. The great young buck is the same one that snort wheezed below Jared's stand a few days earlier, a very solid 4-year-old. Josh decides to wrap up his hunt early to take care of some editing. But on his way back to the vehicle, he creates a mock scrape and then hangs a camera over it, hoping to learn what deer are in the area. Owen Reigler continues to struggle. After finding several good bucks dead from EHD during the late summer, he now breaks from his best areas to try new spots, hoping to encounter a mature buck.
Here we are, November 3rd. We went to a new farm again today. We had a good sit yesterday on a new farm. Well, I shouldn't say new farm. This is the first time we've hunted it this year. It's a farm that I've hunted before, several years actually. But I really don't know what's here. I've checked the cameras twice is all. So we're just kind of winging it. There's like Bill talked about, that element of surprise is kind of fun sometimes too, you know. It's a lot of fun to hunt one deer or a couple deer that you know about, but it's also kind of fun just to see what shows up, so that's what we're gonna do. We've got a kind of a south-southwest wind, just a real light wind that's carrying this direction, and the hill drops off real steep back here, so I'm hoping that'll just, if anything gets downwind of us, it'll carry right over top of them. So I would have set that green source. That's what I think's a better place to be, but it's on the top side, the uphill side of that green source, and these wind speeds are just too light. I think around sunset you're going to end up with just a thermal carrying down the hill. So just decided to come over here, and hopefully if there are bucks over there, we'll be able to tell what size they are. We can call at them or something. We do have a really good open gate right here in this fence row. They use quite a bit, so that might come into play. But we'll sit in here a few hours to see how it goes, guys. Well, we'll see if that'll wake him up. There he comes right there. There's a buck, good looking buck right there. Thought maybe we had that one. Just rattled, and what, 15, 20 seconds, I told Joe, I said, here he comes. And he said, over there scraping, he start tearing that tree up. As soon as he started doing that, I said, yeah, he's worked up. He's gonna come in. I could have just been quiet and see what he'd do, but I hit him with a snort-wheeze again. And it brought him this way, but then he started trying to catch the wind on us, so I'll bet you there's a bigger, more dominant buck in here. He did not want to take that fight on short notice. I'm confident he never did wind us. Our wind is carrying like this. He was trying to get downwind of us, but he just got a little nervous there at the end. Maybe he didn't see another deer here or whatever, but yeah, we were in the game on that one.
Owen finally sees a good buck, but unfortunately, there's no shot. 145 miles to the east, Kaleb Greiner and Collins Marine are still on stand, waiting for one of the good bucks that live on that farm to cruise through the plot.
The last 3 sits that we've had in here, we've been encountering a deer that I call the Old 10. And it's a deer that Collins is targeting on this farm. and he's been with a hot doe, it looks like the past day now. So hopefully he gets off her, comes out to feed tonight, or starts hitting some of these does that are coming out to feed in this corn over my right shoulder. Right now the conditions aren't as favorable. It's probably mid-50s right now, is what the car read as we were walking in here, and I think it's going to be 49 degrees by the time nightfall comes around. But there are a few does that are coming in estrus, so hopefully tonight one of those does heads out here to feed on the plot, end up in the corn, and hopefully one of these target bucks are shortly behind him.
First of hopefully many tonight. Yes, sir. He's staring over. Here he is. That's him. Yeah, that's him 100%. Meh. Meh. Well, swing and a miss for me. That was the buck we've been in here after. One of the bucks were in here after we saw him crossing the CRP. Deer movement was slow to begin with tonight, and then it just heated up, and ended up having that buck come into the plot, and there's a doe that came right through the plot right where he ended up going. And, sweet encounter, awesome encounter. I'm not super bummed about it because that was awesome. I mean, worked to a T. I just didn't execute the shot. Sweet November. It's all right, man. We're gonna get another crack at that deer.
Kaleb and Collins get the opportunity they have worked so hard to create. With several days of vacation remaining, they look forward to more action in the coming week. Jared Mills is beginning to lose interest in hunting a ghost and moves to a nearby farm on which he has permission. His best hope for the big deer now appears to be after the rut peaks and the bucks shift back to food. Mike Reed takes a break from the river farm and hunts a favorite stand in the urban zone, encountering a solid buck near the end of the hunt. Back in southern Iowa, I decide to take the next morning off, affording Drake Lamb the opportunity to hunt. Drake heads to a farm near his home where he recently gained permission.
It's the morning of November 4th. Bill took the morning off, so we thought we'd get in here. We haven't hunted this piece at all this year. This piece actually butts up to public. It's a huge block of CRP, and a nice big creek that runs through. It's just your perfect classic rut funnel. We have no idea what deer are in here or anything, so I know it's a good spot because I've heard multiple people tell me that there's been big deer shot across the road and to the adjacent property, so
It feels good. November 4th, you can't beat it. We've seen a doe. We had a little buck run underneath us. I don't think we got any footage. And then this 6 or 7 pointer that just worked up the edge of the creek. So this ridge kind of dumps off and pinches right here, and there's trails everywhere. This little creek right here, there's tons of trails on it. So looking forward to the morning sit here. It's looking good so far. So fingers crossed we can get a mature buck to come in range.
As Drake waits, 60 miles to the southwest, Owen Reigler is also on stand.
Yeah, it is. It's light switch. I'll hit him with a snort wheeze here. You ready? Yeah. Now that's our light switch buck right there. I don't know if you heard me snort wheeze or not, but we're already in the game. It's gonna do the same thing. They use the exact same trail as that light switch buck. We might have to look at getting a stand in that draw. You need an east wind to hunt it, but might be a good one.
The action dies as the morning wears on, though a coyote keeps things interesting. The buck that Owen is hunting, the one he calls Picket Fence, never shows up. However, based on a number of trail camera photos, it seems only a matter of time before Owen encounters this buck. Drake Lamb is also wrapping up a slow morning.
That's about 10:30, and I think we're going to wrap it up for this morning's hunt. It's been pretty slow overall. It's kind of surprising. We expected to see quite a few deer in here, but I think we're going to get down because the wind switched from west to north, and it's blowing right down this trail, so I think it's best we get out of here. But I think we're going to tear these stands down and walk further down here because it seems like all the deer have been working that edge of the creek. And so probably the next time we come and hunt that, we'll be right there. So Sweet Farm is probably my favorite farm that I have permission on this year. I think it's going to be a good spot. We just got to keep learning it, and I think we'll eventually run into a mature buck.
Crap, Tyler, deer right here. Right here. Buck. I gotta get my bow back up. Dang it.
I think he's coming.
It's like a 3 or 4 year old.
Yeah, don't. He picked his head right up. He's coming this way.
Can I move?
Go ahead right now. He's looking. Here he comes.
Another buck right here. Another buck right here. Not sure. He looks good. Coming right here, right here. He's gonna run that. I don't know if he's gonna fight that other buck or what. I think we'll shoot that deer if he comes in here. Starting to go up the hill. There's just gonna give him a grunt, see what he does. Here we go. Comes in here, I'm gonna shoot him. I know.
Right.
Go ahead. Oh. Dang it. He jumped that arrow. I gotta get another one in him. Oh, man, that's a good deer. I had my bow, antlers, bag, everything on the ground. 3-year-old comes in. We see this buck coming. I mean, I was telling Tyler, I was like, man, you just never know. All it takes is one. And he was the one, man. They just, gotta love it. But I hate that happened like that, but he just ducked me a little bit. But, man, I'm pumped. November 4th. Does not get any better than the rut in Iowa.
What a tank. Alrighty, well, we just got him tagged up, cleaned up, and drug up the hill here. And like I said, I could not be more happier to wrap my tag around this buck. This is what we live for in November 4th. You know, we just came in this morning and hanging and hunted and just hope for the best. You know, it's kind of cool to go into a spot that I don't have any history with any deer, have no idea what the deer are doing. Like I say, I couldn't be happier to wrap my tag around this deer. I haven't had much time to hunt this year between filming Bill and just work and everything else. So, you know, it's a little bittersweet. I've got, you know, bigger deer on camera still, but I have no regrets on shooting this deer. It was an awesome morning. Couldn't ask for anything else. I'll definitely be out December 18th, I think, is when late muzzleloader starts here in Iowa. So I'll definitely have another tag, and hopefully, you know, we can get back after some of these deer that I've got on camera, and you know, maybe a surprise buck or two along the way. But either way, awesome way to close out my bow season. Couldn't be happier, and just looking forward to late season.
The morning of November 4th brings last-minute action for Drake, and Owen finally sees one of the mature bucks he knows well. However, these two aren't the only team members hunting this morning. 200 miles to the northeast in Illinois, Justin Lindemann and Mark Robinson are also on stand. Their morning is plagued by slow movement, and with a midday shift of the wind, the hunters are forced to make a new plan. With no stands in place and no trail cam photos, the two bow hunters head to a new farm that Justin recently purchased. By 3 p.m., they are set up and the deer are moving.
Oh my What a crazy day. We're at my farm. We didn't even get to do a pre-interview. Mark and I have been hunting hard since Friday. We're running into some good bucks. We don't even have a setup at my new farm. We're at my new farm right now. So we got in here about 12:30. We come in here, we make a bunch of ruckus, we cut a bunch of trees down, trim a bunch of branches, and Mark's like, it's 3 o'clock, let's go out. I said, okay. So we literally climb in the stand. We don't even have time to do an interview or even tell you what we did, and there's already a buck sitting right off to our left. And lo and behold, I cannot believe that this just happened. I mean, the first hunt on my farm, first stand set, and we got a big boy down. He's a 5-year-old buck plus. I mean, what a dandy. I want to thank my family, Mark's family, for all the stuff they put up with for us doing this stuff. But I thank the Lord that this just happened. I cannot believe that this just happened. Let's get down and take a look at him, see what he looks like. Oh, he's still got some good light left.
All right, well, we got the tag put on him and got him out here and all cleaned up for you guys to see. Again, this is one of the most memorable hunts Mark and I will ever have. We were surrounded by deer immediately. I mean, and the next thing you know, this guy comes strolling through the woods about 50 yards in, and I gave him a grunt and a couple snort wheezes, and he came on a string. It was a very memorable hunt for sure. It just goes to show you, hard work pays off.
How quick things can change in November. We were just getting ready to pack up. Had my bow at the base of the tree. Man, that's awesome. I'm ready to go down and go get him. The first hunt on my farm, first stand set, and we got a big boy down. He's a 5-year-old buck plus. I mean, what a dandy. I cannot believe that this just happened.
Drake Lamb made the most of his limited hunting time, tagging his second buck of the season. Justin Lindemann showed how effective calling can be, using the grunt and snort wheeze to pull in a great trophy, the first buck from his new farm. Collins Marine finally got the opportunity that he's been waiting for all season, but not everyone was into action. With no recent sightings and very few trail cam photos, Jared Mills must decide on a new plan for the big deer, and Mike Reed remains focused on hunting the buck called Merino on his river farm. We are only 4 days into this much anticipated month, and already the number of open tags our team holds are dwindling. It has been a fast start, yet if history is any teacher, the coming week will be the best of the entire season. It is hard to believe the action could get any better, but the does are only just beginning to come into estrus. It is a guarantee that many more bucks will pass our stands before we are done chasing November.